What's going on YouTube? It is your boy Brian Mark coming at you with another episode on this channel, and in today's episode I'm giving you part 3 of From Trailer Park to Lambo. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Let's go. So quick little recap. We ended the last video talking about me winning my fitness competition. And the truth is, when I was competing and when I was entering these shows, I was entering these shows under the belief that when I won my competition, everything was gonna unfold for me. Sponsors were gonna come, clients were gonna come, people were gonna sign up. Like I had the physique now, I had the pro card, I had everything on paper that would have deemed me as successful. So at that point, my business should have grown rapidly, but nothing happened. I remember the day after I won my pro card, literally waking up and feeling the exact same that I did the day before, and I just felt completely empty. Everything that I'd worked so hard for like the last 3-4 years, I literally dedicated my life to it, felt completely and utterly empty. Super weird feeling. And you know, at the time, I was dating a girl, and we had plans to move to Australia together. But I also had an online coaching business that my goal was to grow this online coaching business, Aesthetic Nation. Like I wanted to take this thing to the next level and I wanted to grow it. But me and this girl had plans to move to Australia and my business was in Canada. And so I was torn. I'm like, do I go to Australia with this girl that I'm dating that I'm like, I think that I love her, or do I stay in Canada and build Aesthetic Nation? So I remember sitting with this decision for about a week or two after my competition, and obviously I was coming off my show, I had post-show blues, I was overeating, I was, you know, kind of like lost. And I remember laying in bed one night and realizing that I didn't want to go to Australia. It was October, we were scheduled to go to Australia in December, and we were scheduled to move there permanently. And I remember in October realizing that I no longer wanted to go to Australia, and I was like, yo, I don't want to go to Australia, and I just need to tell her. So I was laying in bed one night, and so I just rolled over and I was like, Brittany, like, I don't want to go to Australia. And she's like, what? And I was like, I just don't see a future for myself there. Like, her family's in Australia. I'm like, I know that your family's there. I'm like, mine's in Canada. My business is in Canada, and I just don't see myself moving to Australia. So I'm like, I don't want to go. I'm not going to go. And I remember she like burst into tears, and I like literally watched her heartbreak, because we'd been planning this for like a year and a half, and I was actually the one that encouraged her to go to Australia because her family was out there. And that was really the beginning of the end of our relationship, but I didn't really know it at the time. We lived together for the next month. She was packing and getting all of her stuff ready for Australia. I was bartending and part-time online coaching, kind of like lost. She ended up leaving for Australia in December. It was super hard dropping her off at the airport and realizing that like I'm not gonna see you for a long time. And we did long distance for like the next 3 months. And once she left, I decided to move into a different place because I couldn't be in the same place that I would like live with Brittany. Like it was like breaking my heart. I was just trying to figure out my life. I didn't really know. I was trying to get this online coaching thing going, and I was trying to like build this, but I was also like trying to be in this long distance relationship. And slowly over time, like we just started growing apart. And it was in March of the next year, you know, we were like on the rocks, and I could feel that we were on the rocks. And so I impulsively bought a flight to Australia, and I bought a one-way ticket to Australia because I wanted to surprise her. So I called her and I was like, yo, I have a surprise for you. She's like, what's up? I was like, I'm coming to Australia. She's like, what? I was like, I'm coming to Australia. She's like, I don't want you to come to Australia. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, like I came here for 3 months without you. I already built a life, and now you're just gonna come? I'm like, yeah, I wanna be with you. She's like, it's like too late. She's like, in fact, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm done. And I was like, what? She's like, I'm done. And she hung up the phone. And that was literally the last time we talked. And I remember like just like bursting into tears. I'm like working at this bar with this half-ass online coaching business, like 2 or 3 clients barely. But you know, I want to go see this girl, and I was so heartbroken. So I was like, I had a decision to make. I'm like, I was trying to call her, trying to text her, she wasn't answering. So I was like, I can either, you know, not go to Australia at all and lose the money that I invested because I bought a non-refundable flight ticket because I'm like, I don't need a cancellation. Like, I'm going to see the love of my life. Why the f would I need a cancellation? So I had this non-refundable $2,000 flight, I could go to Australia and try to fight for Brittany, or I could just not go. And I was like, I'm gonna go to Australia, I'm gonna fight for her. So a couple months later, my flight takes off. On that trip to Australia, I was like, I'm going to like win this woman back. And I was like, somehow. I was by myself, I didn't really have a lot to do. When I got to the Australia airport, I texted her, or I emailed her because we had each other blocked on social media at the time. And I told her that I was in Australia expecting a reply. She didn't reply. So now I'm in Australia by myself. I don't know anyone. And so I started just like trying to like experience life because I'm like, I don't know anyone. And like, I want to kind of make myself happy so that when I see Brittany, everything will be okay. So I went skydiving for the first time when I was in Australia. That was super fun. I met up with one of my friends who lived in the Gold Coast and I stayed with her for a week. And we just went out to the club. We went out dancing, drinking, whatever. And around like it was like the first 3 days in Australia, I realized that I wasn't gonna see Brittany when I was there. And I wasn't gonna like rekindle that relationship. And on the day that I realized that, I was like fucking distraught. So I had saved up about $3,000 for that trip. And there was one night I went out with my friend Christina Corpan, and Christina, for some reason you end up seeing this, that would be hilarious. But we ended up going out and we went out to the bar, got super drunk, and then I was so fucking heartbroken that I just stayed out all night partying. I was like, I need to get this out of my system. And me and Christina got super drunk, and I was like, I'm staying in Australia and I'm gonna live with you and it's gonna be awesome. Even though I had a flight booked for Bali for the next morning. So last night in Australia, I'm like partying with Christina. I'm like, I'm canceling my flight to Bali. I'm gonna stay in Australia. I'm gonna live with you. That night, I ended up going out to the casino, and because I decided I was gonna stay in Australia, I literally spent $2,000 on roulette, and I was like trying to win money. I had $3,000 in my bank. I took out $2,000, and I was fucking playing roulette with it. And I was like, I'm gonna win 10. Lost all of it. So around 3:30 in the morning, I have fucking like $800, $700 left in my bank. I'm on the other side of the world. I have a flight to Bali at 6 o'clock in the morning. I end up taking a cab back to Christina Corpan's place. And I get there at 3:30 in the morning, and we had just talked about how I was gonna stay in Australia. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she's like, what the fuck are you still doing here? And I was like, what the fuck am I still doing here? She's like, pack your shit and fucking go to Bali. She's like, this is crazy. She's like, get the fuck out of here. She's like, you need to go to Bali. Like you said you were going to, get the fuck out of here, go to Bali. And we realized that we had made a drunk, stupid commitment. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. So I literally, 4 o'clock in the morning, packed all my fucking shit. I was still half cut, took a cab to the airport, got on a flight to Bali, and I was still fucking drunk on that plane to Bali. I get to Bali, I end up in this like random airport. I was still kind of cut. I took a cab to my new place and I went to sleep. I've never been to a third world country in my life before. Woke up the next day in this like super hot, like almost like musky room. And I almost like forgot that I was in Bali. And I was like by myself. What the fuck? I'm like, where the fuck am I? So I like put my shoes on and I just went for a walk. And I remember the first time ever going for a walk in Bali, and it was like it was yesterday. Because I like walked up this like alleyway, and the streets, like the cement was like uneven, broken cement. There was like giant potholes in the side of the road. I saw a fucking rooster like run across the street. I looked across the street and there was like a dog with like half of its fur missing. I like walked past a market where they were chopping chickens' heads off in front of fucking people, and I was like, what the fuck am I like where am I? Like what the fuck is happening? And I like walked back to my house and I was like, I don't know where the fuck where I am or what I'm doing. And so I like asked the person that like lived there, I'm like, can I get like transportation? They're like, do you want to rent a scooter? And I was like, sure. I'd never driven a scooter. And in Bali, I've never driven a scooter. I'm like, can I rent a scooter? They're like, sure. And they're like, $15. And I pay him and he just gives me the keys. He's like, have fun. I'm like, no driving lessons? Like, literally just gives me a scooter. I'm like, okay. So I take the scooter out and I decided to go to the bank machine. I looked at my bank account and I realized that I had like $630. And I had 3 weeks in Bali, and I had no food. And I'm in a third world country. I have no fucking idea who anybody is around me. And I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, what did I do? And then just like guilt, shame. I'm like, you dumbass, you spent all your money at the casino. I'm like, you're such a fucking idiot. Not only that, like, guys, I don't have a family I can call for money. Like, my whole family struggles for money. So I'm sitting here in this third world country with $600, $500 in my bank, no fucking money. My family isn't gonna bail me out. I'm like, holy shit. So it took me a couple days to really sit with like how fucking wild my situation was. I had to go out and I had to buy food, I had to eat. So what I did is I bought food in bulk and I was like just cooking in bulk. First thought was I'm gonna make the $500 last 3 weeks. After the first week, I'd spent $150 and I was like, I'm f***ed. So then the second thought, I'm like, okay, I have online coaching. So like, I'm gonna commit to online coaching. So I launched something called the Soft to Shredded 6-Week Challenge. I charged $500 for it. I had a $500 transformation package. If you win, you want a $500 transformation package. So I launched that. I ended up selling 10 people in total. I made $5,000 in Bali, and that made me realize if I can make $5,000 in Bali, I'm like, I definitely can make $5,000 when I'm back in Canada. So I made $5,000, survived the trip, thank God. And when I flew home, I realized I'm like, I can't work for anybody else anymore. So went up to my bar and I literally looked at him. I'm like, dude, I love you so much and I love working for you. I'm like, but I hate it here. I'm no longer passionate about bartending. So I'm like, I'm quit, and I'm like, never hire me again, because even if I come back begging for a job, I'm gonna be a shitty employee because I don't like working here. So I basically went in and threw a bunch of gasoline on the bridge, set it the f on fire, and I was like, now online coaching has to work. Not only that though, but I'm gonna be honest, because I went to Australia and I didn't get to see Brittany, it made me like vengeful. It almost made me like, well, if this girl, like, if I am gonna lose this girl over Aesthetic Nation, I'm like, I'm gonna show her that she made a mistake. I literally thought that. I was like, I'm gonna prove her wrong. And I had this like chip on my shoulder. So when I came back, not only did I wanna quit my job, but I was also like fucking hungry to prove her wrong. I was like, I'm gonna show you that you just made the biggest mistake of your entire life. And I just went all in. And when I say all in, when I came back, you guys, I was so meticulous. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm making $5,000 a month right now because I have this many clients that are paying me this much money. I'm like, if I want to get to $6,000 a month, then I need to sign another 3 clients. So I literally was like, goal, sign 3 clients. I'm like, in order for me to sign 3 clients, how many calls do I need to book a week? I'm like, okay, I need to book 6 calls a week for me to sign 3 clients. I'm like, how do I book 6 calls a week? Well, I'm not like generating enough leads on my social media because I don't have enough followers. So I was like, so I need to get more followers. Well, how do I get more followers? And I just like, I was so meticulous with everything that I was doing because I was so committed to making this thing work, and I was so like serious about proving people wrong that I was like just working, because I just wanted to prove to this person that was no longer in my life that they made a big mistake. And so I just worked with this vengeance, and my income just grew every month. It was like 5K, 7K, 9K. And I ended up doing a fitness competition. It was WBFF Worlds. It was my first ever fitness competition as a pro. But in that process, I learned a lot about flexible dieting and how to get lean with flexible dieting, which is what became my philosophy for my clients. So after my fitness competition, I started training competitors to step on stage, which is when I met Cole. Cole hired me as his fitness coach. I started training him how to pose, how to diet, etc. Helped him prep for his first show. And in October of 2016, I was doing my finances, because I did my finances every single month. And I like looked and I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I made $10,000 this month. I was like, what the f? I'm like, I just made $10,000 in 1 month. It's like, holy. Literally called my boy Taylor. I'm like, yo, we're getting f***ed up. Literally called Taylor, went to the bar, and I got everybody blasted. I was buying shots all night. I was so excited. I was like, yes. I'm like, we f***ing did it. And that was the start of it, man. Like, that was the start of Aesthetic Nation. Cole and I started working together really closely. I helped him win first place in overall at his first fitness competition. I was coaching competitors. I helped him win first place in overall at his second fitness competition. This is when he like asked me, he's like, bro, he's like, I love online training. I love what you're doing. I love that you're helping people. He's like, I want to help you. I was like, honestly, like, I don't have a position for you. I'm like, but if you win your next show and you get certified, I'll hire you. So I didn't think he was going to do it. Wins his next show and gets certified, comes to me. He's like, I want a job. I'm like, I guess I better figure it out. And guys, like, when I was building Aesthetic Nation, like, I was honestly doing it off of instinct. Like, I had this vision, which I created in the summer camp. I told you guys about it. I had this vision of where I wanted my life to go. And I was just going off of instinct. Like, the next moves that I was making were just instinctual. Like, I knew that this was the next person to hire. I knew that this was the next move to make. And I just like kept following my instincts. And my instincts led me to hire Cole. My instincts led me to hire a couple of my friends, Taj and Josie. My instincts led me to hire everybody in my company. And that business, Aesthetic Nation, I built that business to $54,000 a month. Not only were we making $54K a month though, like our clients fucking loved us. And we, like Aesthetic Nation was such a powerhouse in Calgary that you either absolutely loved us and you thought we were like amazing and you thought we were like top tier and you thought we were like the best, or you hated us because we were so loud, we were so obnoxious, we were in everyone's face, we were on everyone's news feeds. But either way, everyone knew who we were, and it was such a cool feeling. It was just everything to me. Aesthetic Nation was everything to me. And I honestly thought I was gonna be building Aesthetic Nation for the rest of my life. I really did. And let's enter the next heartbreak, which I feel like heartbreaks are what build businesses, I think. I don't know about you guys, but heartbreaks is fucking what did it for me. So building Aesthetic Nation's at $54,000 a month. And I'm dating this girl. And she was a trainer on my team and we ended up breaking up. And she was very involved in the business. She was doing our accounting and she was a trainer on the team and she was in the community. And so when we broke up, like as the CEO of the business, I'm like, I don't want to see you every day. Like this is too hard for me. So we ended up separating. She did her own thing. I had the business, but I fucking resented working on Aesthetic Nation now, something that I had spent my whole life building, because like every time I worked in it, I thought of her because we had been spending so much time building it together. So now it's 2018 and I'm like, okay, I just spent the last 4 years building this online fitness business that I'm resenting. I've got like 5 trainers on my team. I've got 50 of my own fitness clients. I don't even like working with them anymore because I'm like so full of resentment for the business. So I'm like, I had no idea what to do. And I remember there was one day in particular where I had 50 fitness clients, 5 to 6 trainers that were counting on me to like help them with their fitness clients. And I was dealing with the breakup and I looked at my phone and I literally had a panic attack. It was the first time I've ever had a panic attack. I felt like my heartbeat racing through my chest. I couldn't look at my phone without getting anxiety. And I literally had to log off of everything for 7 days. I told my clients, I'm like, I can't talk to you. Like I literally have like, I'm like mentally unwell. And in that moment I realized I'm like, I need to do something different. Like I don't know what it is, but I like need to do something different, because not only did I no longer really want a fitness coach, but there was also like a lot of like resentment because I mentored a total of 7, 8 trainers and 4 of them ended up leaving and doing their own thing. And so I kept mentoring trainers how to build a business, and then they take that information and they go start their own business. So I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this for free? I'm helping them make money and then they're fucking taking it, becoming my direct competition. And then there was a switch in my head that was like, if I'm gonna teach you how to make money online, how to coach people, how to achieve financial freedom, like I'm gonna make people pay for it, because too many people were taking advantage of me. And I was like, I'm not gonna have it anymore. I'm like, I'm done. So what I decided to do, set the bridge on fire again. I called all my fitness clients one at a time. I'm like, hey, I'm no longer fitness coaching. I fucking love you. There's 5 trainers on the team. I'm gonna pair you with the best one. And I fired every single one of my fitness coaching clients. Bam, 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 bam. All at once, incinerated, burned to the ground. And I did that because I had a vision. And this vision was new. And I said to myself, I'm not gonna train fitness coaching clients anymore. I'm gonna train the trainers that train the fitness coaching clients. Called Cole. I was like, yo, I need you to run Aesthetic Nation and I'm gonna start building PT Domination. He's like, what's that? Like, that's the new business that we're gonna own. So we ended up, me, Cole, and one other guy ended up pitching for a mentor that cost us $15,000. And I didn't have a lot of money at the time, because you gotta remember, even though my business was making $54K a month, like I just fired all my fitness clients. So the 80% profit that I was getting from those, now I was getting 20% profit because I gave all the clients to my trainers. And I went all in with the intention of building a business that could serve personal trainers, because I didn't know what that was gonna look like. I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but I knew that I had the knowledge to coach personal trainers because I had done it so many times. So I hired a mentor, his name's Scott Olford, to teach me how to package the knowledge that I had. I launched a program called the 8 Weeks to Freedom, and intro Kirsten Mark, my wife now. So I had met Kirsten at a rave, and she was a personal trainer working at a gym in Kelowna. And she told me that she was making no money, that she was struggling. I told her that I was an online trainer, and we had briefly talked at this rave about how I was online training. And so when I launched my new business coaching program, I was like, yo, do you want me to train you how to be an online trainer? She's like, hell yes, I do. So I was like, let's get on a call. I got on a call with Kirsten, and I ran her through this new phone script that I just acquired from my mentor. And my program was actually $5,000, but I couldn't justify charging $5K at the time because I didn't know that it was gonna work. And so I called Kirsten, I told her, I'm like, listen, you're gonna be one of my first clients, and so I'm gonna give you the program for $1,500. And she was like, I don't know. She was on a camping trip. She's like, I don't know. I'm probably gonna wait. I'm like, you're not gonna fucking wait. I'm like, you're either gonna do it now or you're not gonna do it. It's like, is it a yes or no? She's like, okay, I'm in. So she grabbed her credit card, she paid, and Kirsten became my first client, which is really cool. She's married to me now, which is hilarious. So first client, and then I sniped her. That was the start of PT Domination, was that. Kirsten and I were working together, but she wasn't seeing a lot of traction. And at the time, me and my friend had a trip to Bali planned together. And so it was September of 2018 at this point. A few months after I'd fired my fitness clients, I was still running Aesthetic Nation. I was building PT Domination on the side. So this would have been my third trip to Bali. So planning my third trip to Bali, and I told Kirsten as a joke, I'm like, you should come to Bali with me. Because this is what happened. We were on a coaching call. She told me that she fell and tripped and smashed her tooth. She had to get dental work done. And guys, that brings us to the end of part 3. Sorry, that's the end of that. In the next video, I'm gonna talk to you guys about how Kirsten and I became best friends, and then how Kirsten and I became lovers, and then how Kirsten and I became married, and how I built PT Domination from 1 client to over 1,500 clients and changing the fucking world. Peace.